Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Dandara Pranam Maharaj, you're welcome Maharaj. Please accept my humble obeisances.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Maharaj. So thank you for coming on time. There are a few devotees here, and we are expecting more to come. At least we have about 35 devotees who register for the seminar.
There are always 7 here.
Yes, Maharaj. We're waiting for them. Meanwhile, while we are waiting, Maharaj, maybe we can start with Magalan Charan. We can.
Okay. I have difficulties to open my PPT. Nobody here to help me.
Okay, Maharaj. Okay. Let me make you so that you can share it, Maharaj.
Even to bring it out.
Okay.
Is it problem? Okay. Okay, I've gotten it. So, yes, I have gotten it. I've opened it now.
So, Maharaj, have you been able to see that, Maharaj?
Yes, I have seen.
Okay, Maharaj.
I have opened it. I have opened it. Okay, let's do the Banga Charan as you said.
Okay,
While we're
Maharaj.
waiting.
Okay, Maharaj.
Jaira Damadara Kunjavihari. Jaira Damadara
Kunjavihari.
Gopi Janavala Girivaradha.
Jaya Gopi Janavala Girivaradari.
Sodanandana Vajajanarandana
Yashodanandana Vrajajanaranjana.
Yamunatira Panapari.
Yamunatira Vanachari.
Jairada Madhava Kunjavihari.
Jai Madhava Madhava Jaliya.
Gopi Janavala Girivaradha.
Jaya Gopi Janaballabha Girivarabha.
Yashodanandana Vajajanarandana.
Yashodanandana Vajajanarandana.
Yamunatira Panapari.
Yamunatira Vanachari.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
Hare
Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna,
Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare
Rama
Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Hare Hare.
Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Srila Prabhupada, Jaya
Jaya
Prabhupada,
Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada.
Jai Jai Gurudev, 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 Jai Gurudev, Gurudev,
Gurudev, Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gurudev.
Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura
Nitai
Hari
Gaura
Bol,
Haribo, 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 Nitai Gaura.
Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivedikacharya Stuttarasata Sri Sriman Divine Grace ISKCON Founder Acharya Jagari Guru A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivedikacharya Stuttarasata Sri Sriman Divine Grace Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada Ki Jai. Anant Gori Vaishnav Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Ko Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakti Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopal Gopinath Shyama Kund Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Mathura Dham Ki Jai. Navadvip Mayapur Dham Ki Jai. Yamuna Mai Ki Jai, Ganges Mai Ki Jai, Tulasi Devi Ki Jai, Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Tamarita Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Nitai Gaura Premanande, all glorious assembled devotees, all glorious assembled devotees, all glorious assembled devotees, all glorious to Shri Guru Shri Gauranga. Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vishnu Namaste Krishna Pura Karun Sati Bhakti Magyana Timirandasya Yanandana Salakaya Chakshulu Sandena Taismai Sri Gravena Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Tabitandjana Bhutale Swayam Rupa Padam Yam Rasipa Padam Vandeham Sri Gurun Sri Taparam Sri Gurun Vaishnavanta Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagunaratam Vitam Sajivam Sadvitam Savadutam Parijana Satyam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sahabanu Lalita Sri Visakan Vitam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandha Jagatpati Gopisa Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namaste Tapta Panchana Rangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Prisavana Siti Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Panchakalpatarubhyascha Pasudivaivacha Patitanam Pavebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nitya Nanda Sri Advaita Gadadara Sri Vasari Gaura Bhaktavrin Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Maharaj, we would like to read your intro bow, if you don't mind, before you start, or is there any need, Maharaj? That is our approach.
It will take a long time. Let me go.
Okay, Maharaj, please go ahead.
Yeah.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Yes. So we have 18 devotees here. We have 18. So we want to thank all of you. Have you made me a co-host?
Yes, Maharaj, you are co-host now. We have about 35 devotees who register for the program, Maharaj. About 38 devotees register for the course. But you are a co-host now, Maharaj. About 38 devotees register. So maybe some of them, they will join later, Maharaj.
I don't know where I'm going to do that. I don't see where I can enter co-host. Sorry, I don't have somebody with me. I've forgotten. Anyway, I think what I'll do tomorrow, I'll send it to you.
Okay, Maharaj. Okay, Maharaj.
I'll send it to you tomorrow, so you can show it from there.
Okay, Maharaj. I will do that, Maharaj. No problem, Maharaj.
It will be easy. So today, let me just do it alone. I have it here with me.
Okay, Maharaj.
So yes, we are going to look at the 4 regulative principles of freedom. It is we are taking the source for this material from Srimad Bhagavatam, from Vaishnava Etiquette Manual, from Bhakti Sadacharya Handbook, and the fundamental practice of Bhakti practices. So Bhagavatam, Srila Prabhupada, and Bhagavad Gita. So our sources is coming from these scriptures. And so we welcome all of you to this 5 days discussion. So I want to ask you a very simple question, all of you, very simple question. A regulative principle. When we say regulation, it doesn't mean you are free. So how a regulative principle is a freedom? Regulative means someone is controlling you. You are not free. You are regulated. So you are restricted. Don't do that. But how is that a freedom? Did you understand my question?
Yes, Maharaj, you understood, Maharaj. So anybody want to speak, please raise your hand, then we can unmute you.
Yeah. How is it a freedom? How is the regulation be a freedom when they are restricted to so many things and they are controlled? Ganka Prasad Prabhu has listened.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Thank you very much. Yeah, regulation may be like one is controlled, but we are guided by the controller so that what we are suffering by doing what you are doing, we become free from the consequences of those reactions of what we are doing and we are suffering. So the person who is guiding us to get out of it is actually he's actually our well-wisher. And when we get free from that thing, we are free.
Very good. Very good. Thank you very much. A nice contribution. We have one person here also want to speak. Yes, what is the why? Okay, the contribution from here is that when we follow this principle, they will become free. Very good, thank you. Chitan Prema Prabhu.
Okay, Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you very much for agreeing to
Okay.
give us your Sangha. Thank you very much. First of all, we are not happy. We are in a bondage, and we have been doing certain activities that have kept us in this bondage to birth, old ages, and death, and their children. So we want to become free. So the person, we cannot, one whose hands and legs are bound, cannot free himself. So somebody who is unbound has to free us. So that person has a process to free us, and the person has to give us the process, and we should follow that process in order to become free. So regulative principles of freedom, it means the process is going to be given to us, and we have to accept it and follow through in order to become free. So those are that is it. It appears to be contradiction, but it's not. What we are doing is not helping us. What we need to do in order to come out is going to be given to us. So we are, that so-called whimsical independence is going to be regulated by higher principles. Hare Krishna.
Very good, thank you. Very good contribution. Jamuna, Devi.
Hare Krishna, Gurudev. Sorry, I am using Jamuna Sevi's mobile because my mobile has no charge.
It's not Jamuna, it's Jamuna Sevi.
Yes, it was before Zoom app, so I will change, Gurudev.
Yes, change the name.
Sorry for the inconvenience. Yes, Gurudev, I will change. And Gurudev, yes, thank you for giving me the opportunity to join this session and to see you and your face, your lecture. I'm enjoying. Thank you, Gurudev. Gurudev, what I think that now in our position, whatever we feel that we are free, actually now we are in bondage. So we are not actually free. But when we will follow the injunction, which is which terminology is rules and regulation, by following that, we will really come to the stage of happiness and freeness. So that is the real meant of freeness. Now we are in bondage actually.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right. Thank you very much for your contribution. And I can understand that we are on the way. So yes, it is true that we are not free. We may think that we are free, but actually we are not free. So for us to be free, we have to follow a process to become free. Therefore, these regulative principles, it is actually the process to get us free. The thing which we have been desiring to be, it can take place only by following the regulative principles. If we follow these four regulative principles, which are not in themselves bhakti, for example, monkey is a vegetarian, but he's not going back to God. Cow is a vegetarian, he's not going to go back to God. But although these principles are themselves not a pure devotional service, but by following them, one would develop knowledge to understand our animalistic activities and will be able to give them up and have the sense of being a human being. And then we'll be able to do what is necessary for human beings. What is necessary for human beings is devotional service. Devotional service to Krishna. And for us to do this nicely, we have to follow this principle. So Prabhupada said, all initiated devotees must attend morning and evening classes. It's fixed, compulsory. It's a principle for us to become free. Morning and evening classes is compulsory for every devotee. You must not be addicted to any kind of intoxicant, including coffee and tea and cigarettes. They are forbidden to have illicit sex and must be strictly vegetarian. This is instruction from Srila Prabhupada that every initiated devotee must follow. By following this process, one must develop knowledge that our brain will be attracted to devotional service. Activity which is required for all human beings. So proper continue. One should be initiated into following the principles of Shastra. In offering initiation, our Krishna consciousness movement takes or asks one to come to the conclusion of Shastra by taking the advice of the Supreme Speaker of the Shastra, Krishna, forgetting the principles of the materialistic way of life. Therefore, the principles we advise are no illicit sex, no intoxication, no gambling, and no meat eating. These 4 types of engagement will enable an intelligent person. See, one would develop knowledge to enable an intelligent person to get free from the materialistic way of life and return home back to Godhead. This is Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, Chapter 5, Text 20 purports. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, Chapter 5, Text 20 purports. If we follow these 4 regulative principles, develop knowledge to get us free from materialistic life and to return back home, back to Godhead. One is not accepted as a bona fide student in this movement unless he promises to follow the 4 regulative principles. No animal killing, no intoxication, no illicit sex, no gambling. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 26, Text 5 purport. Canto 4, Srimad Bhagavatam, Chapter 26, Text 5. My simple request is that you remain in association of devotees and continue to chant your 16 rounds daily and follow strictly the 4 regulative principles and read our books daily with great care. In this way, your Krishna conscious advancement will be assured success. At the end of this life, you will go back to Godhead, back to home, and live with Krishna eternally. This is a letter Srila Prabhupada wrote it to Bhaktalans, December 16, 1974. Bhaktalans, L-A-N-C-E, L-A-N-C-E, Bhaktalans. This is the request of the founder of this Hare-Krishna movement. What's the request? We must remain in association with devotees. It is compulsory. If Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, we will find our fortune only with devotees. Our fortune is with devotees, because with devotees, we will share our realizations. We will get the strength from those who are higher than us. You get their knowledge, you get their protection. So our fortune is with devotees. Proper requesting. Stay with devotees, have association with devotees, and we must continue to chant our round daily. We chant our round daily. We should follow strictly the four regulative principles, and we should read our books with great care. 14 proper requested here. And what is the result of that? If we do this, what will be the result? In this way, your Krishna conscious advancement is assured success. Assured success. And at the end of this life, you will go back to Godhead, back to home, and live with Krishna eternally. So Prabhupada is very, very confident in what he gave to us. It is our duty to follow what he has given to us. If we follow what he has given to us, he promises our success is guaranteed. Success is assured. If you do 4 things, success is assured. We must make advancement and eventually attain success to go and live with Krishna in the spiritual world. Eternally. Not sometimes, eternally. One can be gradually elevated to the standard of real knowledge of Krishna consciousness by practicing austerity and celibacy, brahmacharya. By controlling the mind, by controlling the senses, by giving up one's possessions in charity, by being avowedly truthful, by keeping clean, and by practicing yoga asanas. However, if one is fortunate enough to meet us, to get association of a pure devotee, he can easily surpass all the practices for controlling the mind by the mystic yoga process, simply by following the regulative principles of Krishna consciousness. This is wonderful. He refrains from illicit sex, meat eating, intoxication, and gambling, and by engaging in the service of the Supreme Lord under the direction of the bona fide spiritual master. This is from Nature of Instruction, purport. What one will get by following the yoga processes become easily attained in Krishna consciousness if you are fortunate to meet a pure devotee. In his association, it will be easy for us to practice the four regulative principles. In the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 13, text 8 to 12. So Prabhupada explained, if one have the fortune to follow a pure devotee, we don't even need these principles. We will get the strength by the mercy of a pure devotee. So that the Western said a principle becomes very easy, very simple to follow. As like Vishwanath Chakrabarti Thakur said, one who has pleased the spiritual master by sincere service will have the regulative principle very easy to practice. Very easy to practice. When love of God deteriorates into lust. In a material condition, all living entities are engaged in sense gratification. But when they associate with devotees who follow the regulative principles, they become purified and awakened to their original consciousness. They then attempt to satisfy the senses of the Krishna and engage in his devotional service. This is Chaitanya Charitamrita. When love of God deteriorates into lust, it is very difficult to return to the normal condition. Nonetheless, Krishna consciousness is so powerful that even a late beginner can become a lover of God by following the regulative principles of devotional service. Anyone, this is Bhagavad 341 purport. 341 purport. 341 purport. Even a beginner, a late beginner, even a late beginner, by following these four regulative principles, one would become a lover of Krishna if you follow the principle. That is the importance of following the regulative principles. Regulative principles will lead us to become a lover of Krishna. Even those of us who are beginning late, are coming late to Krishna consciousness. We are taken to Krishna consciousness at a very old age. Even that, one is sure to get freedom and attain Lord Krishna. Raga Dvesha Vimukta is two. Vishayan Indriya is Charan. Atma Vashairi Videya Atma Prasadam Adigachati. Translation. But a person free from all attachment and aversion and able to control his senses through regulative principles of freedom. Regulative principles of freedom can obtain the complete mercy of the Lord. By following this process, what will happen to us? We will attain what? The complete mercy of the Lord. Bhagavad Gita 264. Bhagavad Gita 264. If one followed the four regulative principle, the reason why we are discussing this is to help devotees appreciate the four regulative principles which we are not taking seriously into. Because if you don't know something, we cannot put our best into it. If you know something, we'll put our best. Just see what the Krishna said here. But a person free from all attachment and aversion and able to control his senses through regulative principles of freedom can obtain the complete mercy of Krishna. So if we follow this regulative principle, what's our benefit? What will benefit? We will get what? Complete mercy of Krishna. One who has complete mercy of Krishna, what else do we need? Srila Bilvamangal Thakura said, if I have your mercy, what else do I need? If I have the mercy, if I have your mercy, what else do I need? And if I don't have your mercy, what else? What else? There's nothing. Following the regulative principles will make us to have a complete mercy of Krishna. Therefore, it is necessary for us to put our effort into these principles. This is why we are discussing it, to help us understand what we will achieve by following the regulative principles. And of course, at the end of this, we hope to establish a confidence in the Krishna consciousness, that by following what our acharyas are given to us, we are sure to become fully Krishna conscious. That is the aim. That's the aim of discussing this topic. Bhagavad Gita 265. Prasade sarabhadukanam kaniri asyopadayate prasannachetalyo yasu buddhi paryabatistate. For one who is satisfied in Krishna consciousness, the threefold miseries of material existence exist no longer. In such satisfied consciousness, one's intelligence is soon well established. By following the regulative principles of freedom, what will happen? Our intelligence is well established. One does not exist in material miseries anymore. The regulative principle takes us out of material miseries. Another benefit of keeping to the four regulative principles. We're going to look at each of these four principles. What did they stand for? How they destroy our wonderful qualities. So it will help us to give our interest into following these principles and become free to do what? To go back to Godhead and eternally live with Krishna. This is the benefit, the benefit of following the regulative principle. It is not that our chariots does not want us to enjoy. It is not they don't want us to enjoy. It's not because they don't like us. It is because they love us and they know what is wrong with us. Therefore, they have carefully given the principle to free us. Before this lecture, we were talking about the Sati. And I said, Lord Shiva, Sati was expecting, Lord Shiva is very, very kind to everybody. But why is he not kind to me, the wife, and by allowing me to go and visit my relatives? So I said, Lord Shiva did not do that because he knows that her going there to visit a relative is not good for her and is going to bring a good result. Because he knows this, he cannot allow her to go there, even though she will cry. Lord Shiva will not allow her, and he did not allow. He did it because he knows the benefits. That is a bona fide teacher. He will not allow us to do something which is not good for us. He will not. Similarly, our chariots here, the four regulative principles are given to us out of the compassion of our chariot to help us get free from material existence, to have the intelligence, to obtain freedom from material existence, material sufferings, and what? To go back to Godhead and live eternally with Krishna. We live eternally with Krishna. And who will not like that? The whole struggle of material existence, or the whole struggle is what? You want to obtain eternal bliss, but that is not here in the material world. And our sinful activity cannot give us that. We want to be very, very happy eternally. That is not here in the material world. Our sinful life cannot give us that. The only process that can give us this is these regulative principles of freedom. So it is compulsory for every devotee to take this principle very seriously. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 17, Text 24. Bhagavatam 1, 17, 24. Tapasu chandaya sartam itipada krite krita adharma saistrayo bhakna smaya sang madastava. In the age of Satya, truthfulness, there are four legs were established by the four principles of austerity, cleanliness, mercy, and truthfulness. But it appears that three of your legs are broken due to rampant irreligion in the form of pride, lust for women, men, yes, and intoxication. This is what they destroy. 117:38, Sutta over Cha. Adhyara titastada tasmai sanani kalaye dado dyutam anam siya suna Chatra Dharmas Chaturvidha. Srila Goswami said, "O Maharaj Parikshit, those being petitioned by the personality of Kali, gave him permission to reside in places where gambling, drinking, prostitution, and animal slaughter were performed." In other words, these activities, illicit sex, gambling, intoxication, and flesh eating. What is it? Very, very dangerous. It is not allowed by decent people or human beings. These are not activities of a human being. These are horrible activities. Horrible, horrible activities. Therefore, in a civilized society, these activities are not required. So Parikshit Maharaj did not allow these sinful activities to take place in his kingdom. It's a rejected activity, so it is kept far from human beings. At the present moment in Kali Yuga, we have brought these activities to our own personal self. It's a heavy contamination. Therefore, Bhagavatam 1:17:38 purport, 1:17:38 purport, Prabhupada said, the basic principles of irreligiosity, such as pride, prostitution, intoxication, and falsehood, counteract the four principles of religion, namely austerity, cleanliness, mercy, and truthfulness. What does that mean? By doing this activity, we're destroying religion. And in a community, in a society, an environment where there is no religion, what is that? Dharma. Dharma, that is demonic. So a person who is not keeping the four regulative principle in living what? A demonic life. Very, very dangerous side. If one is not a devotee, one is not keeping to this principle, one is what? A dangerous person. How can a dangerous person be happy? How can a dangerous person be peaceful? How can a dangerous person be satisfied? With what? How? A person who is destructive, Prabhupada said here, the basic principles of irreligiosity, such as pride, prostitution, intoxication, and falsehood, counteract the principles of religion, namely austerity, cleanliness, mercy, and truthfulness. The personality of Kali was given permission to live in the four places, particularly mentioned by the king, namely the place of gambling, the place of prostitution, the place of drinking, and the place of animal slaughter. Every decent person, every honest, sincere person knows that gambling, it is indulged in. Drinking is indulged in. Illicit is indulged in. And meat eating is indulged in by indecent people. Indecent people. This is the understanding of every civilized human being, civilized person. This is the understanding. One does not have respect by doing these activities, materially speaking. So the scripture condemns these things. I remember in the Bible, in the Proverbs 6, it is mentioned, give strong drink to those who are ready to die. This Bible is speaking. Give strong drinks to those who are ready to die. A king should not drink because he would not have intelligence to rule. But for those who are ready to die, they should drink. That's Bible. A king needs good intelligence, good brain. In other words, if one drink alcohol, what happened? Our brain is damaged to understand the goal of life. So the regulative principles are very, very important. They distinguish us from animal life. They distinguish us from demonic life. They distinguish us from indecent life. So a devotee wrote a letter to Srila Prabhupada. And that letter he mentioned, Srila Prabhupada, I've seen that many of the devotees are giving up Krishna consciousness. They are falling down. What should I do so that I don't fall down in my Krishna consciousness? Srila Prabhupada replied to him, keep the 4 regulative principles strictly. You must change your normal 16 round, minimum 16 round every day. Try to avoid offenses. Read the books very diligently. Read the book very gently. So read our book, the books very, 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 very scrutinizingly, diligently, scrutinizingly. We should study these books. We should have faith in Krishna, the Shastra, the Guru, and Prabhupada added, we should not take this movement cheaply. We shouldn't take this movement cheaply. So we're going to look at this: austerity, cleanliness, mercy, and truthfulness. We're going to look at it carefully, what they stand for. Bhagavatam 1:17-45 purport. Austerity, cleanliness, mercy, and truthfulness. The basic principles of religion. Prepare the ground for the reception of advancement in spiritual knowledge. You see, don't forget, we have mentioned before that this principle helps us to do what? To develop knowledge. This principle prepare the ground for the reception of advancement in spiritual knowledge. Teachings of Vinkunti, chapter 13, purport. Papa said, illicit sex life, intoxication, meat eating, and gambling are the 4 pillars of sinful life. And therefore, we request that one first break these 4 pillars so that one root out the sinful life, so that the root of sinful life will collapse. Very nice. Illicit sex life, intoxication, meat eating, and gambling are the 4 pillars of sinful life. And therefore, we request that one must first break these 4 pillars so that the root of sinful life will collapse. If we want to be free from sin, we should do this. And also in 117:41 purport. 117:41 translation. This is translation. Therefore, whoever desires progressive well-being, especially kings, you see, also in the Bible and here, especially kings, religionists, public leaders, brahmanas, and sannyasis, should never come in contact with the four above mentioned irreligious principles. The kings, religionists, public leaders, brahmanas, and sannyasis should do what? Should never come in contact with the four above mentioned irreligious principles. We should avoid this thing very, very carefully. And we shouldn't regret giving up these four pillars of simple life. We should not regret it. We should be happy to keep the regulative principles. We should be happy to keep them. As Krishna said in Bhagavad Gita 7:28, Yesam tuantagatam papam gananam punya karamanam te dvandvam moha nirimukta bhajanti mam pitta vrata. One who is completely free from sinful life can take to devotional service with great determination. With great determination. With great determination. So, what are we looking at? Austerity, tapa, cleanliness, socham, mercy, daya, truthfulness, satyam. So, we will look at it in detail. Tapasya is destroyed by intoxication. Soch and cleanliness is destroyed by illicit sex. Mercy destroyed by meat eating. And satyam is destroyed by gambling. Yes. Someone's hand is up. What's your question?
Yes, Maharaj. I was raising my hand so that I will be the first to ask question when you finish, Maharaj. I don't know, maybe you are done.
No, I'm still on. It remains small.
Okay,
I'll be ready for the question. So, the four regulative principles the devotee should avoid: watching commercial films, television, and non-devotional videos. Should be avoided. Devotees should avoid watching commercial movies, television, and non-devotional. Is included in the principles. Reading novels and other non-devotional works. Reading magazines that deal with films, sport, politics, sex, social affairs, etc. Such activities will simply contaminate our consciousness and encourage us to violate the four regulative principles. Indeed means what? In action. We will not be contemplating it alone. we will do it physically. If you are watching commercial movies, commercial films, appreciating our mundane heroes, appreciating our mundane heroes, they are part of a principle that is avoided. Watching commercial movies, television, and non-devotional videos, football, cricket, Hollywood, Bollywood. All these are part of the gamblings that we should avoid. You see, if we start appreciating someone, this is the danger we don't know. If you hear from a sadhu or you read a literature from a sadhu, you get the energy of the person. Just like if you eat the food cooked by devotee, you get the mindset of the person. The same way, if you eat the food cooked by non-devotee, you get the contamination of the person's consciousness. If you read a magazine, a novel of a demonic person, you get the energy intuitively. You get the energy, and eventually, it will not just be in the mind, in the mental state. It will become our action. Everything has a beginning. If you are appreciating our mundane heroes, Bollywood, all these mundane stars, we would like to behave like them, and what? We'll be also acting like them. Yes. That is true. That such activity will simply contaminate our consciousness and encourage us to violate the four regulative principles indeed. We'll do them easily without composure. We will not have any second thought towards it. We'll do it as normal. Why some devotees, when they are not in the temple, they do all this and putting? Because in their mind, they've been contemplating. It is still there in the mind. They're contemplating on it. So Krishna will manifest it by giving us the opportunity to be in an environment where we can do it without a compulsion. When I told one devotee, you are not feeling comfortable in a temple, you want to go back to church, so that you not find yourself guilty by breaking principles. I told her like that. You want to go there, so you don't feel guilty. If you're not a devotee, you don't feel guilty. Of course, I also see that many devotees don't feel guilty and do something wrong. They don't feel guilty about it. But there's some people who are very pious, they feel guilty. So they want to go to an environment they will not feel guilty. After, I'm not a devotee, I'm a Christian. So fornication is not a problem. That is okay. So I can do it. Everything has the four regulative principles. One must strictly follow the four regulative principles. No meat eating, including fish and eggs, and items like onions, garlic, and mushrooms. No intoxication, including liquor, tea, coffee, tobacco in any form, betel nuts, pan, masala, etc. No illicit sex, no sex outside of marriage, and ideally, no sex within marriage that is not for procreation. No gambling, including speculation on the stock market or in business deals, lotteries, and lotto games. Stock market, shares. These are gambling. So far, we have looked at the principles of religion corresponding with the four regulative principles and practices. We now look at each individually, including how each principle relates to the corresponding leg of religion in detail. re-establishing the principles of religion. All right.
Yes,
Education for
question. Yes, Maharaj. Thank you very much, Maharaj. It's very inspiring and reminding us of what we are supposed to be following. And my question, Maharaj, is that some of these things you mentioned about the regulative principle. Now, before I was thinking, because I know one devotee, in the name of, say, is using garlic for medicine. They take garlic regularly. So, but towards the end of the reading, you mentioned that also. I wanted to ask that one in the first place. So my other question is that when you now detail all the things that Prabhupada mentioned that we should follow, even that they are not mentioned in those 4 regulative, it make it more scary now. You were saying, yes, Maharaj. Like Grihasthas who are not living in the temple. Some of them, it will be very, very difficult to follow all these things you enumerated in detail, Maharaj. Like, for example, let me give an example, Maharaj. Like for example, everybody have television in their house. And those days, when we have a DVD player, it's easier. You can buy Krishna movie and from Vrindavan and put. But nowadays, everything is in decoder. And once you subscribe, whatever channel is in that decoder is what you'll be, sometimes you have to pick one and be watching. So Maharaj, sometimes, and also you mentioned also about regulative in terms of sex life, that it has to be for procreation. So it means that many Grihasthas, they are not going back to God in this lifetime. So Maharaj, so please, I want you to throw more light on this, Maharaj.
Yes. Yeah, thank you for being straightforward. That is very not easy to come out openly like that. So you are blessed for being straightforward. Yes. When you look at when you look carefully to our scriptures. Okay, let me take you to 7th canto. 7th canto, and Narada Muni visited Yudhishthira Maharaj. That's in the very first, I think it's chapter 2, it's beginning from chapter 2, verse 7th canto. Narada Muni is answering the question of Yudhishthira Maharaj. Yudhishthira Maharaj's question was, the brahmacharis are making advancement, the vanaprasthas are making advancement, the sannyasis are making advancement. How can we, the householders who are attached to family, who are attached to the house, that is one fault, that we are attached to the house, means what? Wife, children, the property, and money, land, all this. So when we are attached to these things, it is difficult to make advancement. So when you look at the property is referred to that householder have a low mind. So that is our situation. It means what? We are not going back to Godhead until we have a Krishna conscious mind. And that is why it is recommended that householders will have deity. It is compulsory for household to have deity. Why? Why is it compulsory? So that our attachment to the house turn to Krishna. That is the trick. I will turn to Krishna. And when the attachment turn to Krishna, they will make advancements. Instead of focusing full in the house, it is diverted to Krishna. And also, the scripture recommend that when we are 50, we have to start preparing to turn our attention towards Krishna. We should not leave the attention again inside the house. Our attention should turn to Krishna. So that eventually we'll come to that stage of the vacation. If it is the same, why the scripture recommends you leave the house? Because that the situation is not the same. So scripture gave us time. It gave us the process. At this stage, you do this. Don't do this again. So you do that. But this time to this time, you have license to do this. After this, don't do this again. This is the next thing you should do to prepare for leaving the body. That is a process. And yes, it is true that it's difficult. It's difficult to follow. To follow that. And there's no way we are going to go to God's head without getting out of it. We have to come to this state because all of us, because we are going to the same place, so we have to do the same thing. The same place all of us are going, so we have to do the same thing. All of us have to come to that stage of pure Christian consciousness, where our attention is fully focused on Krishna. So regulative principle, regulation, is to help us to come to that stage. Regulated. So Bhagavata said, the regulated householders. That is the word Krishna used. Regulated householders. Not unregulated householders. Regulated householders. It means what? Those who are strictly following. I have many friends who are following. You know that all households are doing that. I have many friends who are following that. I have many friends who are strictly following. So it is possible, depending on how we arrange ourselves.
Very much, Maharaj.
All right.
Yes, Maharaj, thank you very much. It's understandable. So, Dr. Ivuna, you are the next in line, please. Unmute yourself and ask Maharaj question. Unmute yourself, you are still muted. Click on the icon, yes, yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Maharaj, for the wonderful lecture. Actually, I wanted to ask a question, but Prabhu has already taken care of it. But what I want to add to my question is that it will be almost impossible for somebody who is living outside the temple to not to watch television or not to read papers, because if you don't follow these things, you will not know how the society is moving. It will be like one is locked out. So I don't know how possible it will be for somebody to say, okay, I won't read all these things. And for instance, if there is a impending problem that will come, like political news, and you say you don't want to read, you don't want to follow, and that day something will just happen in your neighborhood and people are taking off. So how do you, to such a person, cope with the situation? That's what is bothering me, as in how one can really join the issue of I won't read, I won't do anything that concerns the society, yet you are in the society. So Maharaj, please, can you highlight on that? Thank you very much.
Yes, no problem. Yes, there are two things I'm going to say in this regard. One is that I remember some years ago, His Holiness Bhakti Maharaj said, it is important for the leaders, the temple leaders, to look at the headings of this newspaper. We can look at the headings, not at the whole thing. So we get the headings, so we know exactly what is around. So that we can do. That is one thing. But the highest thing which I would like to say is, one who completely depends on Christian must be completely protected. Otherwise, what is the question of being a Christian conscious devotee if Christian cannot protect his devotees? one who is foolishly donated to Krishna, wholly donated to Krishna, the Krishna will wholly protect the person. And that is what we need. Krishna cannot just leave us in ignorance, in darkness. So it is true that we should have idea what is happening, but the most important thing is for us to be Krishna conscious. If you are Krishna conscious, everything will follow. Everything will come in.
Thank you, Maharaj. Chitai Prima Prabhu, please submit yourself. You are the last in line.
Hare Krishna, thank you very much, Maharaj, for this practical course. Because initially, when devotees saw 4 regulatory principles of freedom or regulatory principles of freedom, they thought this is too simple. Is it not for neophytes? So that means, first of all, most of us are considering that we are advanced already. But in actuality, we are neophytes. We're thinking like that. But when you started, you can see that the sitting postures begin to change, especially when you started bringing it to the immediate reality, whereby many of us are devotees of phones and devotees of television, side by side with being devotees of Krishna. So when you started speaking it, the bodily postures begin to change. The facial expressions begin to change. That means you are hitting on the head. And it's like, why is Maharaj talking? He's talking directly to me. Why? I will not agree. Then the reaction, like when you talk about garlic, eating, and onions, the householders, they want to even openly say, no, we will not agree. We are householders. Their philosophies are going on in their heads. Householders, we have our principles. Sannyasis have their principles. And, some say because of health, I have to eat. I cannot stop. So even as you are speaking, many people are ready to just maintain their posture. For this one, I will not agree. So in this situation now, what do we do? Because practically speaking, almost everyone is a devotee of phone and television and WhatsApp. Early in the morning when we wake up, the first thing we check is our WhatsApp. Before we even start to brush our mouth, before we start taking our bath, we first check which messages we have. And in the night, before we sleep, we check which messages we have, new messages. So we have become, regular devotees, very committed devotees of WhatsApp. So we try justifying it by saying that change is constant. The only thing that is constant is change. And those who are unable to adapt to changes, they break, they commit suicide like Ukonko, things fall apart. So, so what advice do you have for us? Because we have also learned the science of utility as being the principle. Utility has been the principle, and we have to use the evolved technological environment to also preach and also know what is going on. So, what advice would you have for us? Should we stop these things completely, or how do we manage? Or should we give some time to be going to check our messages and responding and going back to other things? Or should we not? What is your advice for us, Maharaj?
Yes, thank you. Thank you for your nice question. I told last week in Vrindavan, I told devotees, I don't consider anyone to be a disciple if he's using cell phone during japa. Not a disciple. A disciple, I consider someone to be a disciple who will touch the cell phone after the 16 round is completed. Yes, to wake up in the morning and the first thing we remember is cell phone. It shows that we are not Krishna conscious. And if we are not Krishna conscious, we are cell phone conscious, not Krishna conscious. How do we expect to go back to Godhead? It's a practical thing, so we should know where we are. We have to measure our Krishna consciousness. Every devotee should measure his or her Krishna consciousness to check the amount of attachment we have for Krishna, the amount of attachment we have for things which are not Krishna conscious, say cell phone. Or the attachment we are struggling with Sisiran because of television. We are struggling with Sisiran because of cell phone. We are struggling with Sisiran because of the addiction we have for sport. Because when we have addiction for these things, naturally Krishna consciousness will become a secondary thing, not a primary thing. That is natural. If our spiritual life is very high, our material life is very low. If our material life is very, very low, our spiritual life is very high. That is the ratio. They cannot be equal. So every devotee should measure his or her Krishna consciousness. It is compulsory. If we want to make advancement, if we don't want to make advancement, there is no need to check. There is no accountability, and there is no check and balance. So we can just do what we want to do. I don't consider a devotee to be a disciple who is allowing the cell phone to take our affection we had for Krishna away. Our affection for Krishna should not be taken by anything. It is something that we cannot compromise for anything else. Therefore, we should complete our session round before we can look at our cell phones. This is my advice as you ask me. No 16 round, no cell phone.
Thank you very much, Maharaj. So we have 2 more hands up. Although we already gone 3 minutes past the time you want to stop, Maharaj, but we want to take the 2 people? Okay, it's Grace Ganga Prasha Prabhu is here. Prabhu, please.
No problem. No problem.
Prasha Prabhu, please. Yes. Ganga Prasha Prabhu, please.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much. This is very timely, and it's also beneficial for people like me. I can testify using you as a model. You turn off your cell phone around 9 o'clock and you don't turn it on until 10 a.m. in the morning after your morning routine. I have witnessed this. And I like to imbibe that, even though I have difficulties with it, but I like it. And other things you have mentioned, you just like, you touch sensitive wire, but then it has to be spoken. And so we are grateful. My question is not about us. My question is in the preaching field. Somebody just before this class is a new person I'm cultivating, and he said his problem is not eating meat, and he's just newly married, and he's just liking Krishna consciousness. And how will he explain to his wife? So I want you to help me in that direction.
Well, he's taken to Krishna consciousness and he's newly married. He should not tell his wife about it. He should start to practice himself. But he should allow the wife to do, because before marrying the wife, he didn't tell the wife this, so he cannot force the wife. Let him practice by himself and should not impose it on the wife. Neither should he force her. Let the wife see on the progress he is making, and then decide one day to follow him.
Maharaj, what of in the case where he is scared that if he tells the wife that he cannot eat what he cooks, there will be a Ukraine war in the house?
Well, if he should tell the wife to cook his food. She should cook. She should cook his food different, and he can cook her own different. If she's a wife, she will follow that. If she's a wife, she must follow that. This is what the husband says. She has to follow that.
Thank you very much, Maharaj. Thank you very much, Maharaj.
All right. The last question.
We have the last question. Yes, Bhakta Gospe.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. So thank you for your educative message. So my question is, in our work aspect, because our work, it takes 90% of our daily activity. So what work can you advise a devotee to do so that he can also remain Krishna consciousness?
Excuse me, can you repeat the question?
Okay, I was talking about devotee, maybe a devotee staying outside and working. And our work normally 95% of our daily activity. So what work can you advise for a devotee so that I can still remain Krishna conscious?
A devotee should do something which do not violate our principles. For example, a devotee should not work in a hotel where they're selling meat, alcohol, and illicit sales. A devotee should not do that. We should do other things. It's against our principles, so we don't go for that. We should know what are the things we do and the things we shouldn't do. So we don't go against them. We have to check our activities. It is necessary to do that.
Okay, Maharaj, we have the last question on the chat room, Maharaj. Can I read it?
Yes.
Okay, Maharaj. You say, Hare Krishna, you put Babuji. So you say, Hare Krishna, Maharaj, I see a lot of devotees are in stock and crypto marketing. And if we are not doing it, then we are odd man out, left behind. Could you ask, okay, it's referring to me. Could you ask Maharaj for any advice? I'm very interested to know from Maharaj. Maharaj, there is this, all this cryptocurrency, crypto thing that is happening online. I remember, let me just put a little bit on that so that we can understand what I say. I remember my wife was saying when the thing came out in 2010 or 2009, something like that, they were selling it for cheap money. But now the thing has become big money. Like if you have one, it's about $35,000, something like that, big money now. So this devotee is asking, if one is going into that kind of business where you buy something and you leave it there and the thing grow. So what do you think about, what do you advise you have for those kind of people, Maharaj?
It is gambling. That is gambling. It's speculative gambling. That's what it's speculative gambling. Speculative means what? Okay, I get something 10,000 now. I'll keep it there for next year. I'll sell it for 100,000. That's speculative gambling. And sometimes it will become one naira. So it's speculative gambling. That's why you call it speculative gambling, because you're not sure what you're going to get. You're hoping to get a 10 million and you may get 50, or you not get anything, you come back zero. So you lose everything. So it's gambling. We should do steady business. There's so many steady things we can do. Simple things we can do that also help us to become big. It's only like Hashem always tell us this: start small to become big. Start small. But we have seen our disease, they want to start big. If you start big, you fall. You start small, you succeed. We don't have the goodness to be patient and do something and gradually rise. That is our problem. Better for us to start small, gradually rise. Should not be in a haste, because you don't grow like this. We gradually grow up to become a man or woman. So we should also be patient to do things which will bring us peace, not something which is going to give us anxiety and the frustrations, because we are struggling, we are competing, want to rush, want to undo somebody to succeed. All these unnecessary things, they want you to try to avoid them. location had given us intelligence. Now we have to use our intelligence to live a peaceful life. If you don't want a peaceful life, then let us join the karmis in the rat race. We'll have the same anxiety like them. If you don't want to join them, then we should have a peaceful life, design our life in a Christian conscious way. We'll succeed. I have seen many devotees who are working, not only in West Africa, they are doing their businesses nicely. Vedic, feminist.
Not Prabhu.
Yes. There are many devotees outside of West Africa who are living the peace way. Not all are directors, not all are big people. They live a very simple life, and they are happy in their Christian consciousness. They go to school, they get a certificate, they get a job, they're living their life. Should do the same thing. We have a very good life.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so very much for the wonderful class. This last question that Prabhupada read, I want to ask the same question from a different angle. We see, like, even here in Benin here, people buy red oil when it's very cheap, maybe during dry season. So they wait until rainy season when oil is very expensive, then they sell. Then also, people buy dollar. Some people buy dollar in a specific time of the year, physical dollar, not not in the internet. They go and buy dollar, they store it, or they keep it somewhere for some years because they know that dollar will definitely grow. So after some time, when dollar has appreciated, they sell. Some people buy land. They don't have the mind to build a house on it. They wait for some years. When the land has appreciated, they sell. So generally, people buy something cheap and look for an environment or a place or a time when it is expensive, then they sell. I don't know much about crypto, but I think it's a similar thing. So if the person who is doing cryptocurrency is gambling, so Gurudev, it seems to me like all business people are gambling. Please, maybe you should explain.
This particular one you just mentioned is also gambling. And you see our aggregate consciousness, see the cheating mentality which we are constantly progressing. It is affecting the whole universe and nobody look about it. A few years ago in Cote d'Ivoire, a journalist was asking me a question. We were talking problem. I said, Mr. Man, excuse me. We are talking about problem. When are we going to ask ourselves, what is the cause of these problems? Why nobody asks this question? It's only problem we are talking about. See the consciousness we are keeping. We are. Before I traveled last time, when we are paying for our new land, so they send I got the money to pay, and the man who is sending said, if you wait till next week, so the dollar will rise, then we can share. I said, no, give me the money now. I don't want to wait for next week. I need it now. Just pay that. I don't want this gambling thing. This is the rate now. I got the money this time. I want to change the money this time. I will not wait for next week. Give it to me now. This is how I got the money and pay for what I want to buy. I didn't wait for dollar to rise so I can get more millions. I didn't do that. When everybody is thinking like this, it has an effect in the global effect, the consciousness. And everybody is facing these challenges and nobody look at it. Nobody sees this as a problem, that we are contributing negatively to the global problem by this kind of mentality. Buy this and keep. So what are we looking at? We're looking for problem. We are meditating on disaster. So I can have chance to make more money from people damage. Dangerous mentality we are cultivating. And devotees should not participate in these things. Let me buy dollars and keep. When it become 1 million, then I'll sell it and get billions. It is gambling. They buy red oil and keep. All these things are the same gambling. And devotees should be careful. An Ayurvedic perspective, sattva, is a quality of goodness, truth, clarity, and love. It brings joy, health, and healing. When we feel calm, clear, and peaceful, sattva is the dominant energy. Nature is an abundant source of sattva good. Selfless service, act, spirituality, pure food, herbs, and water are also sources of sattva. These are different energies. The Raja is here, and also the Tamas is also here. And I didn't finish this thing for the time. Anyway, our time is over, so we'd like to close here. Thank you very much for everything. I'll see you tomorrow.
Yes, thank you very much, Maharaj, for your time. We really appreciate, and we thank all the devotees for being here. So please, I will continue tomorrow at the same time, the same place, and just like we announced before the seminar that the devotee can give donation of the amount on the poster. So we'll provide a place at the end. We want to believe that you are in Sattva, that you are going to give those donations. so we'll provide where you put them so that we can use them for Krishna service also. So thank you very much for being here. So let us all unmute ourselves and chant Hare Krishna mantra to appreciate Maharaj for his time. Then tomorrow, let us be on time also. Let us unmute and say Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Hare Pancha Kalpataru Namo Damodara Maharaj ki
Prabhupada ki jai.